Can you beat Poppy Playtime Chapter 2 if Mommy Longlegs shrinks you? You know, signing up to go through a deserted toy factory with monstrous toys lurking about isn't exactly something I do on a regular basis. Wandering through the haunted halls is scary enough, but you know what would make it worse? Wandering through the haunted halls and getting hit by a shrink ray. Now, everything that is trying to kill you is way bigger than you are. So, can we beat Poppy Playtime Chapter 2 if we are the size of an ant? Mommy Longlegs shrunk us Honey I Shrunk the Kids style, and we are up for a very difficult challenge. So join me as I show you just how difficult this game is when you're just a speck of dust in the floor. I hope you enjoy this bizarre experience. So Chapter 2 starts, and look how small we are. We're so baby. The floor looks huge because of how close we are. This is definitely going to take some getting used to. So let's head on over to where Poppy is. We need to first grab the key, and this is when I realize there's a problem. So when we shrunk our player down, the grab pack shrunk with it. The problem is that now I need to jump in order to use the grab pack. It won't shoot otherwise. This is because the hands are so close to the ground that when I shoot, the game thinks we're hitting the ground so they never even move. So yeah, this is going to be fun. I end up going through the barrels to grab the key because despite my small size, I can open doors just fine. Making our way back to Ludwig's office, I basically explore under all the furniture. I'm so small that I can go places I normally couldn't, and I'm curious as to how this is going to help me out in the future. But then I realize how it isn't going to help me either. I'm so small, I'm falling through the vent cover that was blocking the way to Poppy. I eventually can rotate it and make it up, but I fall through the seams in the level geometry and get stuck. Ugh. After reloading the game, I make it up again, but this time I'm extra careful. I use a pillow to jump onto the desk, and then I leap over the crack in the vent so I don't fall through it. And now we face what I honestly thought was going to be the end of the run. So Poppy comes out and wants us to solve a little electrical puzzle. Okay, simple enough, but it isn't. There's a physics glitch that happens with the grab pack while you're this small. If you're stretching out your hand as a power line, it will often disappear. This happens because it thinks it is interacting with the ground. Sometimes it will even clip through the ground, or the game will freak out and throw you so hard at the wall you will rip through it. Then the game crashes. So, that's pleasant. I was having a super hard time trying to solve this simple puzzle because of how small I was. My grab pack was glitching out and going all over the place, and it was very, very difficult. You can't tell by the footage, but this puzzle took me around 45 minutes to do. I eventually had to grab boxes and jump on top of them so I could activate the poles without my cable disappearing. It felt like such a monstrous victory when I finally solved it though. Good grief. I then go into the vent and press on. In my mind, I know every single electrical puzzle in this game is going to be extremely difficult. This first puzzle made me pull my hair out, and I wasn't looking forward to the others. I move on until I eventually run into Poppy, and I have to say it's really strange having to look up at her. She then gets grabbed, and we jump into the slide and approach the next insane puzzle. So, we have 2 switches, 2 moving gates, and handrails all around this room, and I'm too short to even get my hands over the rails. I know I'm going to need some help here, so I take the severed head of Cappy and drag it into here. At least I have a footstool now. I did try to take the giant blocks in the lobby too, but none of them would fit through the door. So all I had to work with was this yellow head. And oh man, this room is an absolute nightmare. Sometimes your grab pack cable gets hung up on the fence, sometimes it clips to the ground, and every time it messes you up. You have to shoot your hand over the handrails too. This room ended up being the first puzzle, but level 99. I can't even tell you how much time this took to beat. Eventually, I got a glitched wire set up and unlocked the door. But good grief, I was practically begging for Mommy Longlegs to just rip off my hand and get it over with. Next up, we head into the train station, throw the switch, and then move on down to the musical memory area. I was really worried going into this challenge, since I knew I was going to need to jump each and every time I wanted to hit the puzzle. You know what's weird though? Having to jump up each and every stair in the green hand room. I could fall through the back of the stairs, so I need to jump up each step one by one. Somehow, I carry a giant paint can, and I get myself a new right arm. And now we arrive at musical memory. I'm not gonna lie, I was curious if Bunzo Bunny would even be able to reach me due to how small I was. As the game begins, I begin short hopping, and firing my hands off in rapid succession. Somehow, this felt easier than normal. I had a lot of trouble with my hands not firing the first time I ever tried this on my first playthrough, but this time it felt super fluid. This small boy was basically a ninja, and I was hitting the patterns pretty easily. I think Mommy Longlegs underestimated just how powerful Ant-Man was, because we cleared this challenge way faster than I thought. We snag our train code piece and walk across the bridge. Wait, yeah, that happened. We are so small the bridge didn't collapse for me, so I had to flail around like a crazy man until it did. We're now heading to the toy reject room, and I have to say, you fly through the vents. Because we are so small, we don't need to use the crawl function to enter them, so we move at full speed. And for some reason, we go faster than normal when we're small. Inside the toy reject area, the only annoying thing about this room was that my grab pack kept letting go of the crane. After a lot of trial and error, I eventually get to the platform, and we eject Bron out into space. Unfortunately, he wasn't the imposter. As we continue our journey, it's time for another blasted electrical puzzle. As you can imagine, this one gave me trouble as well. I was trying to jump to hit it, and then jumping up top to wrap it around, but when I did finally get it, the puzzle wouldn't complete. Like, why is this happening? The puzzle is done. Please open. A separate time, as I was weaving a web of energy, the game just threw me through a wall and crashed. Fun times with power lines. Yay! I had now been doing this puzzle for a half hour, and I decided to drag a ball from the previous room into this one. The ball would give me the height I needed, and despite doing the same thing I did the first time, this time the door opened. We eventually make our way back to the train station and opened up Whack-A-Wuggy. I'm feeling a bit confident due to how well I did with musical memory. And wouldn't you know, I was an absolute legend in Whack-A-Wuggy. Despite being small, this minigame is relatively the same, and since the holes are high up on the wall, we don't need to jump since our hands are firing upwards away from the ground. I clear it on my first try, and Mommy Longlegs gives me another piece of the train code. I'm super small though, so I can just go into the vent anyways. But I didn't realize the gate was going to shut behind me. I didn't get the code, and Mommy's arm got cut off. I followed the arm to the staircase to see a glitched Mommy stuck to the wall. She immediately disappeared though. These stairs have small gaps in them, so I need to be careful not to fall as I made my way up. I got high enough on the stairs so I could grapple my way up, and I moved deeper into the facility. So, you know that berry part where you have to unlock all the doors? I could just walk under all of them and open the switches from the other side. Super easy. I didn't even activate Kissy Missy beforehand. So after freeing Barry, I found her T-posing in the hallway, fully encompassed in shadows. Kinda crazy. It makes me wonder if I even needed Barry at all, or if I could have simply walked under the boarded up exit. I slowly jump up the red stairs in the game station and pull the final lever. Onward to PJ Pugapillar. We have another electrical puzzle to solve, and this one isn't too bad because we can grab the handles on the ceiling. I solve it with the help of a barrel and move on. Once we get into the giant room where we run from Rope Dog, I realize I miscalculated something. You know the ball pits? Well, we're small enough to fall between the foam blocks, and suddenly I'm lost in a 3D maze of fluff and I have no idea where I'm going. I can only see the blue bricks in front of me, and then suddenly I die to Rope Dog. This time, I'm a bit more careful with my movement as I navigate the foam maze. The slide section is a breeze because we move so darn fast since we don't need to crouch. After another swim in foamland, I then break the window above and move onward. Making our way to the water treatment area is relatively the same. I don't need to even rotate the platforms, since I'm small enough to just squeeze through the cracks on the sides. I climb up top, grab a toy, and open the door. In this next puzzle area, I had to use buckets to give me enough height to solve the electrical switches. By this point, I'm getting pretty good at being a tiny lad and doing puzzles. And now, we're at the Mommy Longlegs chase.
YouTube Music Premium is an experience that gives you complete control of your music. So,
while running through here, everything was relatively the same minus needing to hop up a silver staircase. When I got to the door that required the 4 levers to be pulled, I was surprisingly able to get up top in that crawl space due to my size. Normally you can't do that, so I explored a bit. When Mommy Longlegs came running out of the hallway, I was hoping she would run right over me, but it jump scared me anyways. I guess my hitbox is still big enough. Even if you try to hide behind objects, it's no use. You must go up top. When I got to the fiery oven, I kept falling through the small holes in the metal walkway. I could just walk through the small openings in the oven door though. When I got to the final chase part, and I was running through the sewers, I actually hid in the corner of the room with the ceiling grapple handle. Mommy Longlegs rushed in, but she didn't hit me. So she started climbing the wall and she left me behind. This honestly took all the pressure off this part, because my small self didn't have to worry about her chasing me. When I made it to the grinder room, I got scared and ran to the room. I then went under the door to where the prototype hand is. I just hid there and Mommy Longlegs ran in and defeated herself. I then ran out and pulled the lever as another Mommy Longlegs spawned. Yeah, there were 2 of them because my small character missed the trigger for the event. I check out underneath the grinding machine to see the body of the other one. I actually made a video on why this occurs if you haven't checked it out. You know, in case you're curious. With Mommy Longlegs gone, we're now in the home stretch. We climb some tedious metal stairs and make our way back to the train station. Poppy has been freed by our tiny baby hands, and now we open up the train. I think I'm a little too short to ride, but I jump up on the controls like a raging monkey and start to slap all the buttons I need. But once the train started to move, my character began hopping all around. It was like I was constantly jumping, and the only way to prevent it from happening was to jump up on the dashboard of the train. We set off down the tunnel and crashed like a boss. And somehow, some way, we beat Poppy Playtime Chapter 2 while being the size of an ant. It was an incredible journey that was very, very frustrating at times, but I was happy to see we were able to do it. I hope you enjoyed this bizarre challenge, and if you did, consider subscribing for more videos just like this one. Thanks for watching!